Hey guys, it's Scott here, and welcome to Leicester Till I Die TV, the brand new YouTube channel talking about everything to do with Leicester City Football Club. I will be your host of a new weekly episode where we are going to be looking at everything to do with the club, such as transfers, rumours when it comes to incomings and outgoings, confirmed transfers, match reviews, match previews, and everything in between. So, if you do want to see more videos, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel. All the links to other socials, such as Twitter, Instagram, etc. will be in the links in the description if you want to go and follow us on there. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up if you do enjoy this video. Leave any suggestions for future topics and conversations that you think that we should talk about on here. And without further ado, we're going to get into the first one of these videos. And again, we are open to as much feedback as possible to make these videos as entertaining and informative and also engaging as possible. Today, we're going to be talking mainly about transfer rumours because there are a lot going on right now, and then a tiny little preview as to how these may impact our season going forward, which starts in just a couple of weeks. So with each of these topics, I would love to hear your feedback and thoughts on these players, especially when it comes to transfer rumours. The first one we're going to kick it off with is the big news that I'm sure some of you may have seen in the last day or two. Pretty much, Timothy Castagne from Atalanta is becoming a Leicester City player. It is all but official at this stage, with very, very reputable sources on Twitter confirming that the deal is done, such as Christophe Terreur, who is the go-to guy when it comes to Belgium transfers, as well as the ever-reliable Fabrizio Romano confirming that the deal is done on his account as well. So, a quick look at Castagne as he is now looking like he is joining the Foxes. What do you guys think? Is it going to be a good signing or not? So, a lot of the conversation that is coming out about him is the fact that we seem to be signing a right back when we've sold our left back in Chilwell. Well, the thing is with Castagne, he's played on both sides in his career, especially at Atalanta. He's played a lot at right back, but he's also then played as a wing back on both sides. Atalanta famously playing a 3-5-2, so he has been utilised at left mid and right mid in that system. And so he could be coming here to play as a left wing back as a replacement for Chilwell, or potentially, because he is so versatile, he may be being brought in as a squad player who may replace Ricardo in the starting 11 whilst he is injured, but then as soon as Ricardo is fit, he may start and Castagne may become more of a player that is rotated in and out of the squad, whether it be at left wing back or maybe for lesser games whilst we rest Ricardo, because his injury was very, very serious. And so we don't want to be putting him into 3 games a week going forward because it would be risky to do so. So Castagne looking like he's coming in for £18 million with some add-ons that will be based on performances and the like. So, do you think that it's a good deal? Let us know in the comments section down below. This one is all but complete, and it looks like the Foxes are finally getting their first signing of the summer completed, but it may be announced in a week or so once international duty is complete. Following on from Castagne, it is very, very obvious from any of our transfer links that we still seem to be looking at left backs. Even potentially with Castagne coming in, we may go for an out-and-out left-sided player so that he is utilised as a squad player, and then our out-and-out left back is the guy that starts our games. Now, whether this is true or not, we will obviously have to wait and see, but there are many links to left backs still going around, a couple of which Jamal Lewis, very young player, English, left-sided fullback from Norwich, being quoted as going to cost £20 million. Would he be a good signing? Would he be an upgrade on what we replaced? Is the big question that is going around. We sold Chilwell, who was a very controversial player. Some people really liked him. Some people thought that he was very frustrating. And I think it's clear to say that we shouldn't be selling him and then downgrading if we're going to be spending a lot of money. So spending £20 million on a young English left-back is an interesting decision considering we just gave Luke Thomas a brand new 5-year deal. So it does seem like the club really have faith in Luke, and hopefully he is going to push on and potentially fill that Chilwell hole that is in our squad. But the Foxes are still linked to multiple other left-backs, including Tagliafico. Now, he is an older player from Ajax that has been linked to Leicester. However, according to Sky and other sources, he is too expensive for us. And the same goes for Robin Gosens, another Atalanta player. However, he is an out-and-out left wing-back. So these are both being quoted as roughly £40 million, and we are apparently not willing to spend that much. So would it be worth spending that amount on a position that we have just sold for more than that? Would you sell a player for 50 mil and replace him with an older one for £40 million? Some people think that we should, some people don't. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. But it right now doesn't really look like Tagliafico, Lewis, or Gosens are advancing in any way, especially as Timothy Castagne is incoming. So that may be us set for the season, and we may try and just bed in Luke Thomas and push him forward as the starting left-back going forward. Do you think that he's good enough, or do you think that we should be spending this Chilwell money on a left-back? Others will argue that we should be spending it on different positions, especially as we may be transitioning into a permanent three at the back formation, as we saw in the back end of the previous season, where sometimes it looked effective, others not so much. So there's a lot of question marks going around our team right now. Is James Justin going to be played left back, because that is where he is most comfortable? He looked really, really good as a right-sided centre-back in a three-back formation. Will he play there with Söyüncü and Benkovic at the start of the season? Who knows? It is all up in the air right now, and the preseason friendlies haven't really given us any indication as to whether we are going for an out-and-out left wing-back to play this 5 or 3 at the back formation, or whether we are going to go back to a back 4. I think everybody is confused other than the people at the club, and everything is under lock and key. So what would your preference be? Would you like us to play a back 4, or would you like us to experiment with the 3-5-2 formation that we played towards the end of the season, especially after lockdown, where we had people like Ayoze Perez filling in as the number 10, 2 strikers up top, and then some wing backs? Let me know in the comments, and let's move on to some other rumours. Now, next up on the list is another defender. However, this one is a centre-back instead of a left-back. Ever since the departure of Harry Maguire, the club seemed to have been desperate to get a centre-back into the club. However, now it seems to make a bit more sense. If we are transitioning into a 3-back formation, then we want to have a solid set of centre-backs ready to play in those positions. So right now, we have Söyüncü, we have Johnny Evans, although he's suspended for the first few games. We have Benkovic, who has a few injury problems. James Justin looked very good at right centre-back, but is not naturally positioned there. And then we go down to under-23s, people like Wes Morgan, etc, etc. So the club are currently looking, apparently, at Wesley Fofana, who is playing for Saint Etienne over in the French League, managed by, you guessed it, Claude Puel of all people. So whether he would put in a good word for us to potentially sign one of his players, I'm not too sure after the way that things went down with him at our club. However, Fofana is a very, very exciting prospect. He is 19 years old. He is really, really doing decent, and it is pretty impressive to see how he is playing right now at such a young age, and it would be very, very good to see him come over to the Premier League and see if he can continue to play at the level that he has performed so far over in the French League. Now again, he is young, he fits our profile, as is seen over the last few years. We go for younger players that we try and bed in, improve, before we either then fully integrate them into the starting 11 for years to come, or sell them on for profit. Now, an interesting thing that happened the other day was Fofana followed the club on both Instagram and Twitter before it looked like being told to stop doing that, and all of a sudden unfollowed us. Is this a link to say that he is in advanced negotiations and potentially ready to join? Well, it's not for me to say, but you can read into it what you will. There is a chance that we do sign Fofana this window. He wouldn't cost that much either, because he is not seen as a megastar in the league, and he's not playing for someone like PSG, so he would be available on a decent budget, which again fits the profile of Leicester massively. Not overpaying £50 million for a centre-back for James Tarkowski or something like that. More like 10 million for an up-and-coming player that could be nicely bedded into the team, scouted out for a little while, and plucked from Claude Puel. So the last two transfers that we're going to talk about today are very, very different. And it leads me on to the final question for today's video. What are your predictions for the upcoming Premier League season in two different formations? I would like to see in the comment section down below your prediction for where we would finish in a 3-5-2 formation, or 5 at the back, however you want to describe it. And then your prediction for where we would finish if we're playing with wingers in a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, something along those lines. Because the first one that we are linked with is Edouard, the striker, French striker from Celtic, who has done really, really well there. Us, Villa and other teams are linked with a potential £40 million move for Edouard, which would indicate that we would be going to a 3-back formation to accommodate for 2 strikers. Him and Jamie potentially playing together, and then having Iheanacho, Perez, Barnes as backup strikers if need be. The other one is Dwight McNeil, who is a winger from Burnley, left-footed, that normally plays on the left but could play as an inverted winger on the right, which would see us play with wingers once again. So, that is the main question for this video. One, leave some general feedback. Do you like this format? What things would you like to see us talk about in future episodes? Do you think that there is anything that has been majorly missed out that would make these videos perfect for your viewing each week? We are going to do match previews and reviews going forward in the future, as well as other informative pieces as well. But the main question is, what is your Premier League placement for Leicester City in the upcoming Premier League season with each of those formations? I will potentially tell you my answer in the future, but for now, that is going to be it for this video. Make sure that you are following all of Leicester Till I Die's socials. The links will be in the description. And if you want my channel, I do a lot of FIFA based content, which is obviously football but in video game style, then my channel will also be linked at the bottom of the description as well. So go and check me out. My name is Scott, this has been Leicester Till I Die TV, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.